there using starter jackets and some very good WWE tricks in the Bellator cage to promote former UFC fighters, which means it's time for Verbal Tap, the show that proves fighting way easier from outside the cage. For example, you can get a starter jacket. I am your host, Kevin. With me, of course, Raf Esparza. Raf, how badass is it that they gave everyone in this heavyweight tournament a starter jacket and had them line up?
It's kind of something that they do in big professional MMA shows, and even on the Asian broadcasts. I like to call it the, oh, hey, everybody showed up, look, shot that begins the show. And it was my favorite thing that Metamorph used to do, is it would parade everybody out at the very beginning.
Make them jog.
And I always think to myself, if I'm those athletes, the last thing I want to do is like do anything before my match. So them looking at me and going like, hey, Raf, could you go out there and jog for a second up in front of everybody? And I'd ask, well, what am I going to do when I do there? Oh, just stand there. We're going to be like, look at your Metamorph athletes. And we really are going to bust up my concentration for this match. Have me go parade around for a little bit. Yeah, could you please? No, fuck you. I'm not doing that. So yeah, no, I can see it. But were the jackets good, Kevin? And who made the jackets?
I don't know. I assume starter. They were varsity jackets with Bellator. I was pretty much tuned out once the smoke started. I watched them announce every single fighter. I did watch that. Was really surprised at some of the variance in weight classes that I saw, but I love it. Bader is way bigger than I remember him, and I completely forgot. It was like, holy shit, that's right. Fedor's still fighting. Holy shit, that's right. They have Bader. Oh my God. Who's King Mo again? No, I remember, I think. And then and tonight's matchup, Quentin Rampage Jackson versus Chael American Gangster's on it. And I was just like, ugh. And I did see it. It was pretty old. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about UFC. We're obviously going to talk about some of our friends that keep our tights tighter. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot. We've got Jason Hayden coming back on the podcast. But Ref, you were at Ultimate Mat Warrior doing real on-the-ground journalistic stuff. Talk about it.
Of course. I just want to say this before we move on the Bellator thing.
I wasn't
we'll come back
done.
and forth between the two.
I just assumed it was like not worth everyone's time to focus a whole segment to it.
No, I got you. I want to shoehorn this joke that I was waiting for the right time for you to do, and you didn't give me the right time to like double dutch my way in on the timing. But I'm gonna lob it in because I just don't want to do it later.
Okay, I'm in.
Are you ready for it?
I am ready.
Okay. Kevin, I think it's so great that you went through all of the participants for this new heavyweight tournament, like Fedor and Rampage. But if I'm being honest, I want to hear more about in this time and this women's movement. Tell me more about Queen Mo. Okay. I want to make sure that you all know the amount of work I had to do to shoehorn that one fucking drop in. I was like, wait for it. And I couldn't double dutch my way in. So I was like, motherfucker's going to make me do a setup. It's going to take me so much further to fucking get there. Anyway, I'm not mad or anything. I'm just saying I didn't appreciate you just bypassing over King Mo. Like, why do we accept King Mo as a thing?
I always struggle with. Yeah, see, I was already upset that I was like, I insulted him with the who, and then, but I'm glad you decided to drop in with the Queen Mo. Because there is a lot of like, I'm sorry.
And then if he gets a divorce from that lady, is she queen-less?
Right. Probably. I mean, she's something. She's queen.
Probably.
And there's,
anyway, all right.
His kids' addition and subtraction. There's a lot of weird fighters in this heavyweight Grand Prix that I am so excited for it to just drag on for 6 months and no one care by the time it ends. Everyone's like, what? A lot of people. And they're not all fighting on the same night. They're like splitting each fight up in the quarterfinals. So there's 4 weeks, followed by 2 more weeks, followed by an additional week. If that's all these old guys stay healthy,
Yes.
they're not gonna. You went to Ultimate Mat. You went to Ultimate Mat Warrior. Oh, I can't wait to talk more about that tournament. I have a lot of thoughts.
Did. And I do have some more insight on that last part.
Ultimate Mat
Well,
Warrior.
I want to put this insight, and then we're going to get to Ultimate Mat Warriors. Those of you who are waiting for it,
and there are.
we will get there. But the idea about the tournament, though, Kev,
Yeah.
is that they actually were considering doing the first round all at once. So it was an actual possibility, or at least the fighters were led to believe that. They're now working, it's not Spike TV anymore, it's called the Paramount Network or the Paramount Channel, whatever.
Yep. Confused
And
my
so
DVR.
I think they realized, they're like, oh, fuck, we're going to burn ourselves out. Yeah. But I think they realized they're going to burn themselves out doing it all at once.
That's super funny to me. That's why they chose that? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it will.
Yeah.
That's so funny to me. I'm sorry. I just really enjoyed the way I was thinking about this casually. I was like, there's no way we're going to see the end of this tournament in 2018. That's just my gut reaction. Over under. Would you take that? Would you take that bet?
Oh, no.
Exactly. It's not.
No, not at all.
Not.
All right. Let's talk Ultimate Mat Warriors, because one of the funniest things I've ever seen happened. Okay, Kev?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. If you know this person, I don't apologize in advance. I just want you to know this is a thing that happened, and I'm telling it to you, our lovely and loyal audience. There was a wonderful person who competed at this event who he was having a rough time, Kev. You know, he was doing a solid job, but he had a really tough match, and he was exhausted. And he had another match, and he didn't have enough time to rest. So he's like right back into the thick of it. And his opponents had way more time to, rest. And his opponent's already a good competitor as well. There is someone who loves this person who was yelling out from the stands, "Hey!" And you're like, okay, this can't go well. It's kind of like any jiu-jitsu tournament you go to, and it happens a lot more in the local circuit where someone that you love is screaming out things that may not make sense at the time. Sometimes like, "Get out of there," or "Want it more," or "Try harder." But in this particular case, they were yelling out, "They know you're tired." And I thought, well, they do now. They didn't know I was tired before.
Now they're very
Thanks.
aware.
It's doing me a lot of help now. I appreciate that. Now, they didn't just yell that out once. Oh, super aware. They didn't just yell that once. They yelled it out at least 2 to 3 more times. Kev, when I say this to you, I was a little taken aback because I think of this poor guy. And I'm just looking at him being like, oh, dude, I feel bad for you, man. This sucks. Dude, you're trying your hardest. And dude's on top of you, and he's got a really good position. And no, it's not going well. And meanwhile, the person who loves them is just screaming out, "Don't you tap. Don't you tap." And the guy has to tap. But when she does that, I've always wondered about the amount of shit your doctor has to give you when you get done with the match. And they go, "Well, how did you get this injury?" "Well, my loved one said not to tap." I probably should have, but I didn't want to let them down. Oh, well, that's a stupid reason. You deserve to be injured. Anyway, Kev, I just love the fact that this person had made their way all the way from the back of the stands, like the back of the audience, all the way to the front to plead with this person, like right on the edge of the mat where he is. I was like, "No,
Dude,
don't." And I go,
not tap.
I've never seen something like this ever.
This is pretty crazy.
But it would be like me realizing that I wasn't roasting you well enough in the back that I would casually make my way down on the floor, which, by the way, you're not supposed to be.
You could
I
yell
want to
that
point
at
that out.
any
Only
point,
media credential.
any match I've ever been in. You could
But
yell, he's tired. He knows you're tired. You're like, yep.
But he knows you're tired is the best. I thought the only thing that could have been worse to yell out would have been like, oh, I knew we should have had you heel hook defense. Damn it.
He knows you don't know anything about footlocks. He can tell. That would be super non-helpful during a tournament.
Exactly. So, okay, let's start with the tournament. So I thought that was a good quick aside to share with the group. So I hope you all enjoy it. If you are that person, I'm very sorry that you had to endure that. If you're a teammate of that person, I'm sorry you had to endure that. If you were the loved one yelling, I'm not wrong. So deal with that and understand that when people are listening to this podcast and laughing, there is a distinct reason why. And it was so intense, but it made me think, like, if I was really roasting Kevin and I felt like my joke wasn't good enough, like, all the way from the back, coming to the front and being like, you suck, Kevin. Kevin, you suck.
It'd go personal.
And then I would probably go
like,
into, I thought about it.
They could tell you're not over your ex. They could tell you're still stricken with grief. There's so much.
You went there. I just thought of doing inside baseball bits to you, and yelling out and starting to take on like a Yoel Romero sort of like, "You go for it, Jesus, Kevin. You go for him now. Don't let him come more. You, Kevin. Kevin, no.
It's gay if you lose. It's gay if you.
Other than that, Ultimate Mat Warriors was a. Hashtag gay if you lose is the new hashtag. Yeah, no, I was so happy to be there. Ultimate Mat Warriors is one of the best tournaments. It is super chill. The vibe is very community based. They have a ton of super fights, so it gives a lot of good grapplers exposure. And then the tournament was for the big boys. So what I had to go explain to all the guys who I was taking photos with. My sister and I went to go take photos, as well as our good friends Mike Frosto and Octavio Villanueva, who were doing some video work. I explained to all of the participants who I knew. I said, listen, y'all, if you bum rush me on this small mat, friendship over. And not only friendship over, but I'm not giving you any of these photos because I can maybe push around a 145er. People about my size, I still get a little scared about. I have no recourse for a 225er just like bull rushing me. There's no, oh, I'm going to run out of the way and do like an Indiana Jones escape where I roll out at the exact same moment. No, I'm getting thrown upon on. So I was deeply aware of that the whole time that was going on. But our good friend Jesse Ray, he ended up winning. And Jesse Ray, a ADCC vet, he's also competed at the last EBI. He's just put in a ton of work. Him and his coach Bobby did a phenomenal job. And it was good to see him win because he's a guy who's always showing up. And I like to think that with a lot of grapplers, when they see each other show up so much, at a certain point, they kind of start rooting for each other, especially the gamers who are always in the trenches. And I kept telling Jesse, I was like, it just felt like it was just a matter of time, and today was your day. And hopefully that builds a lot of momentum for him because there were some great names in there. You had our good friend Austin Baker, who's a beast. Sean DeFree was in there. My buddy Al was in it. And then like some really cool names who I was less familiar with, but became a big fan of later that evening. So, we'll put up some photos on the Kid A Photo. So if you guys are looking on the Instagram, it is at Kid A Photo. And then on the Facebook, it is Kid A Photography. So if you share the photos, and you motherfuckers, I'm looking around and I know who's sharing them, and you don't give credit, I'm coming after you. I'm going to send my man Jesse Ray after you.
You should.
Keep that in mind.
I'm in
but yeah, dude, so much fun. Can I also point out one thing, though, that I think is very important for you to know, Kevin? because I didn't know this about myself, but I know that people can see me on the broadcast, so I don't try to bring a lot of attention to myself because the focus should be on the grapplers. This is where the focus should be on me. But Jesse Ray's training partner, Chase Davis, who's another beast into himself, he happened to be watching me, and he put up a post on my Facebook that said, y'all, I know that this tournament is great and all, but is anybody paying attention to Esparza's posture?
During
This
the
man must
event?
never get triangled because that posture is perfect. Yes, during the event. He's taking photos and has perfect posture when I can't even do that while rolling and doing nothing. And I was like, well, thank you. That's a very nice compliment.
You've got a lot of skills in terms of your posture, and I would say it's one of your greater strengths. Very good posture at all times, even when getting swept, which is really frustrating because there are those of us that thrive on the transition attacks, and when we can't do it, it's frustrating.
I wouldn't say that much. I definitely do, though. At some point, though, I started feeling a little like I was getting a little stiff, so I started stretching out. And I'll let you know, Kev, the minute I started stretching out, the people were sending photos of me that they saw when I would be like, you do that one stretch where you like just put your leg to the side and kind of like fall and like kind of reach it with one of your arms. And instead of doing that, my leg was out and I was just kind of putting my body over it, but I was still taking photos. So I had a lot of people being like, look at this sassy fucking photographer. And I was like, that's right, bitches. I'm getting this photo no matter what. But yeah, lots of good stuff. Also got to see our good friends. Nick Schrock was there. Had an amazing match. He's phenomenal. Got to see PJ fucking crush it. PJ, he's always fun to watch. A lot of really good super fights. If I see the highlights or clips go up, I'll try and share them with you guys. But there are a number of really, really cool matches. And I had a blast, man.
Those events where you just see the grappling and the working. It's just amazing. Jealous, you and your sister do unbelievable photography and coverage of these events, so make sure you're checking it out, Kid A Photography. Make sure you're letting them know what you think. You're getting some prints. You're giving the feedback. You're letting other people know, hey, I'm big fans of them. So make sure you're giving them that credit stuff, because couldn't agree more. When it's quality work, it deserves quality feedback, right? Plus, it is good.
Yep.
They're great photos. They really are. So that's helpful. Ref, unbelievable work. Now, clip back to Rory McDonald winning a tough decision. He's the greatest fighter I've ever fought. You sent me a video of him getting carried off like Zoolander. He has a real sort of Zach Morris vibe at times. Rory McDonald won his fight. It was bloody with our man D. Lima. It was all Douglas. It was like, yeah, okay, yeah. So great fight between them. There was a lot of shared elbows, but most of the time Rory was in his guard. Not a single sit back to the heel hook. What the Danaher? Like, where are we? I thought they were training Rory. Did they not give him any tips? That would have been awesome. Heel hooks? No one does that, right?
Well, Kev, if you listen to the 9-hour Joe Rogan podcast with John Danaher, you would know that they don't really do that. They wait. They do their thing. They teach them individually and specify to their realm. So in MMA, they're like, well, you're not always going to go for a heel hook. Do you know why that is, Joe Rogan? And then Joe being like, I don't fucking know. Just fucking tell me at this point, John. Listen,
yes,
did
anyway.
I bring on John Danaher or the fucking Riddler? You fucking dick. Just let me fucking ask a question and you answer it. Stop doing these fucking rhetorical questions.
That was it was
John Danaher just the whole time being like
Facebook posts over and
very
over
interesting
again.
Point, Mr. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, Mr. Joe Rogan, why is it that when you're in Ashigrami, you put your foot in this particular position? I don't know, John. Okay, I'm a shitty black belt.
What is the
Just been
reason?
helping people here, trying to understand jiu-jitsu. Just, you know what you could do instead of doing an ellipsis? This conversation, this podcast, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. It would be an hour if you just stopped taking pauses. Okay. Anyway, of course, the second best John Danaher interviewer out there. I want to make sure that people know this. That when I saw what happened after that last Bellator, Kevin went the Zoolander version. I went bodyguard. So I said that Rory McDonald was full on Whitney Houstoning to a person who is carrying him and should have been singing. I think that's what you're supposed to do because Kevin, have you ever really been picked up like that ever in your life?
No, I don't think so. I've never.
I will tell you
warmth.
this. There is when you do drills, there is there is a drill in wrestling because I'll always just like find ways to be like, hey, pick up this person like this, carry a guy back all the way back and forward. And there's one that's just like, yeah, just pick him up and carry him. And I was like, I don't want to. And I was like, what muscle does this help? And they were like, well, they just like, pick them up like this. And I'm like, you want me to fucking Whitney Houston them all the way back over there? And they're like, yeah. And I go, all right, fine. But I did require that when I did it, they had to sing to me the entire time. So they had to hit the high note of I Will Always Love You. And so the whole time, like, I was supposed to finish. I wouldn't let them go on in the song. They had to hold, and like for me to make it all the way back and forward. That was great. Can I bring something up about this Rampage fight, though, Kev?
Yeah. Tennis court us back over to Bellator, please. And you're going to call it the Rampage fight? That's how you want to address it? I'm good with that.
Yeah, because the reason why I want to call it the Rampage fight is as follows. So Rampage Jackson gets into this heavyweight fight thing, and he says, hey, fans, you might not like the way I'm going to fight because I'm going to fight smart, not entertaining, because I understand the difference. In order to win, sometimes you got to play smart and not fight for the fans, and that's what I'm going to do. So I said, okay, that's how he's going to do it. He ends up losing to Chael, who does the usual Chael business. It's not anything out of the ordinary. If you know how Chael fights, you know that that's probably what's going to happen there. It's a heavyweight fight. Chael's going up a weight class, drastically overweight, or at least matched by more weight by Rampage. And when the match ends, Rampage puts up a thank you to his fans and says, hey, thanks everybody. I came to fight, but Chael came to fight like a bitch. And it's like, wait a second. You were the guy who were telling us just a couple weeks ago, I'm going to fight. Apparently, you didn't fight smart. You fought a fight that somebody outsmarted you. And then that means he fought like a bitch when you told us you were going to fight like a bitch to advance in the tournament, and now you didn't. So, Rampage, on to your tricks. So, yeah, that's why I referred to it as the Rampage fight. But let's talk Chael, Kev. What are his odds in this tournament? How did he look? Was he in good Chael shape?
He was in sort of semi-round Chael shape, and I guess this is heavyweight. This is the heaviest he's going to have fought, I think. It's really difficult to remember. But all of that aside, he looked terrible. Rampage looked worse. I want to be clear. Rampage looks like he can't move. His knees don't work. They don't. I don't know what to tell you. At a certain point, I don't care that Peyton Manning is able to get on the football field. I care about him being able to move side to side and throw the fucking ball. Like, if Rampage had to do anything that didn't require standing there, he briefly picked up Chael in the first round, and that was really cool. And that was the last moment of excitement in the fight. This was a lot of Chael doing a double leg, Rampage having no ability to stuff it whatsoever, and I get it. I'm also getting old, younger than both of them. I get it though. The fight was it was fine, ref. It was fine. It was fine. They're so old. Get Rampage retire for fuck's sake, man.
So having
I don't
said
know.
that, and understanding, and understanding they're super old at this point, dude, I just want to know this: are you in on all of this? Was John McCarthy doing a good job?
He
Was the
was,
tournament
actually.
running well?
Yeah. He was. He was good. And
Okay.
so, I mean, the
That's
broadcast
good.
was good. Jay was good. Glazer. They were fun.
Okay.
But,
Because Jay Glazer was terrible the next day on Fox. I want to make sure people know that for
I
sure.
actually saw him, and I agree with you. I think he got a little too excited and had a little too much fun at Bellator. I think that's my preliminary. I don't know it. I just think it. Prove me wrong. It's going to be hard. Well, Raph, nothing else to talk about with Bellator. The production's good. The fights are kind of fun. They're unpredictable. But outside, and I will say I like the idea of events, though. I like the tournament idea. I just don't understand why I have to wait 5 weeks to understand how round one. That's like basically the Ultimate Fighter schedule. Fun reality show doesn't go great with old people. There's no way everyone, including Frank Mir down to Fedor, are going to make it till next February. Like, it's just not happening. They don't have events every week. Like, we got a long time through this.
Yeah, and I'm wondering this, though, Kev. Is there something interesting about the fact that, do you know how much they were given in terms of money for this?
No, not at all.
Both Chael and Rampage took home $300,000.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's great. Good for them.
So that is great. That is great. That's far more than they would get in the UFC.
Far more. Yeah, it is. How they doing that?
And Rory and Diego, I think, both took home, I think, 100,000 for the co-main event. I saw some fighters making in the realm of 50K. I'm not sure what the local fighters were out here making, but I was very happy to report our good friend Chad George ended up winning his fight, so congratulations to him. Our man Noah Tillis unfortunately did not win his fight, but he was in good spirits afterwards. I think he said he had like a fruity drink in one of his Instagram stories the next day, and he goes, "Well, guys, it's official. When you have a fruity drink the day after you lose a fight, I guess you just turn gay. So I'm gay now. Bye, everybody."
Ooh. What,
Like,
bye? What are you talking about?
You
Hold on.
doing your Noah it is.
No, don't leave us.
I think he just figures that people go to like a fantasy island for the gays.
Oh, okay.
He just like runs
He's
away.
gotta
And
get
it's
out of
just
the
like,
Midwest. You can
you
still
know,
live an active lifestyle.
you know what though? I
fight.
figure
mean,
maybe
crazy.
he comes back better.
Probably. Yeah, I was like, there's part of me that's like, no, it's probably good for him.
Was there anything of note on the undercard for Bellator as well? Because I will say this, Kev, there was something interesting about Bellator going head to head with the UFC pay-per-view, because I do wonder how many people were watching the Bellator, and I'm intrigued to see what those numbers are.
Nothing stands out. I mean, I was kind of clipping back and forth, and it was really hard to keep up with all the events in terms of some of the undercard fighters for Bellator, but nothing in particular that I saw. But I wasn't focused on it, so I'm not going to talk smack on it either. I enjoyed the Lima Rory fight. I didn't enjoy the Chael fight.
That's good.
Didn't enjoy that at all. I enjoyed the walkout.
No.
That was way more fun. That was way more fun. UFC could do that with its best division. Have a little tournament. Oh, Raph, we need to first, hold on. Let's talk about KO Sports Gear.
Yeah.
Let's talk about their amazing online ability to get the coolest singlet you could possibly find. Coolest singlet. There's no cooler singlet. Find me a cooler singlet. Send me the link. We'll put it to a vote. So far, we're undefeated with KO Sports Gear singlets. Have you seen that, Eagle? Have you seen it? You've seen it. You've seen the Joker. Can't wait to get back just so I can wear those. I might cut one up just to make it a bikini. Obviously not a KO Sports Gear one, but something like that. Maybe something I get from CVS. I've got ideas. KOSportsGear.com. Get some fun grappling gear. Get something a little extra. You're all going to be wearing long spats and a rash guard. Throw a singlet over it. That'll surprise the guys at the gym and crack them up. And the gals and everybody in between is going to get a laugh at that thing. Ref, serious question. Am I more excited to get back to jiu-jitsu so I can maintain a positive, healthy lifestyle and my mental stability? Or am I more excited so I can try on my North-South jiu-jitsu underwear? Yeah.
I honestly think you've been talking so much about the North-South jiu-jitsu underwear that's the reason.
It might be. I had a solid 40 minutes where I thought about it on Sunday with 7 inches of snow fell. I was like, what am I more excited about getting back to grappling for? The gear and my North-South Jiu-Jitsu A3s? Or just the healthy lifestyle? And I honestly don't know. I'll let people know. Tune in for an update. Is Kevin still just excited about his North-South Jiu-Jitsu underwear? Or is he excited about just getting back to training in general? That could be anybody's guess. We need to go talk to Jason Hayden. And we need to chat UFC 220. Because I just don't understand. And reluctantly, you brought Jason Hayden back. That's on you, by the way. And he's all feisty because he can't eat.
Yeah.
As we just had Verbal Tap, welcome back. We've got Jason Hayden here to talk some fights.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, sorry. I said that with like a question inflection, which is not all that helpful in the podcast world. Jason, okay, you're not far off, by the way, weight-wise. You were just explaining, which is great. And this is for EBI, which is important. What's the food you miss the most? It sounds like it's a sweets, which I would not have guessed. I would have said you were like a chili cheese dog sort of guy. That's just my take on you. That's a compliment. But what are you missing the most right now?
Definitely the sweets. Yeah, me and my brother Josh, we'll just legitimately eat a whole bag of like chips, candy, donuts, and just it's sweets all the way, junk food all the way.
Junk food all the way. A specific type of donuts, because for me it's those Hostess powdered. They used to come in a bag. They no longer do. It's just a thing.
Those are pretty good. I like those. But just Krispy Kreme, like glazed. Oh man, those are sitting in the kitchen right now, and I want to eat them, and I'm trying to like justify eating one. Like, oh, I think I'll be all right. I'll just have to work a little hard, whatever. But I'm just staying disciplined right now is not cool.
All right. Well, this is why Raph likes you guys so much. Turns out you're fellow fat kids. I get it.
Oh, definitely, big time.
Raph, did you guys bond over cookies? Was that part of it, or was it a taking shots?
I mean, we bonded over In-N-Out, which I feel like all good Americans should.
Oh God, it's like I swear In-N-Out doesn't sponsor this podcast. There's gonna be times people are like, they sign In-N-Out. We have not yet. Raph just really likes them. And Jason, we've brought you back as the definitive what's going to happen UFC 20. Did you see the fights?
I caught a couple. I didn't catch all of them. I'm gonna have to watch most of the highlights actually.
Oh, this is fun. That means I'm the only one that captured the fights. I should have lied about the results then.
Yeah, I got pretty like I didn't feel very good this weekend, so I was gonna go out and watch the fights, and I stayed in instead.
Hold on, you're my favorite. I haven't found a way to gamble on EBI yet, but you're my dark horse. I really enjoy your Tasmanian devil-like approach to jiu-jitsu. Is that fair? Have you heard that before?
Tasmanian, like spinning stuff?
Yes. Like, and just your physical appearance. Like, you're just sort of compact, even for your division.
No, I've never heard that. I have big leg. I've heard that I'm like short and like I have big legs. That's about it. I get that a lot.
That's just people describing you. I don't like
Yeah.
that. I'm talking about your
It's
general.
also someone making sure that they give a description on if you're gonna like steal something. Like you're running out of a 7-Eleven, they're like, "Well, how would you describe him?"
Huge
I
legs.
mean, he's short, but like the legs are a little stubby. His hair is also pristine.
There you
They'd be
go.
like, "Well, we can't find this man, so thank you very much for not."
Sharp
Ah.
jawline. Like you could
Now that I
cut
think of
something with it.
I have heard that Tasmanian thing before. It's been a long time.
Well, it's a cartoon potentially prior to your interest in them, but Raph did not get to watch the fights because he was at Ultimate Mat Warrior doing real things.
Oh, nice.
Which we're gonna chat about. But you all did miss one of the most fascinating fights in a while. I honestly believe this, Jason. I think you could have beaten up Francis Ngannou by round 3.
Oh yeah, that would have been too easy, man. Like,
He was exhausted.
I actually saw the. I went to a website. I did watch the Stipe and Francis fight, and that whole fight. While I was watching it, I was like, man, why did I vote against him? Like, I'm a piece of crap.
Yeah, I felt sort of similarly as he was like imposing jiu-jitsu too, and it seemed like he honestly decided he was like, shit, if I get this guy down, he is done. And it honestly looked like, and I say this affectionately, but you see it with some bigger guys in the gym, right? You've seen it all the time. They get to impose their will because there's no one bigger than them until you get to competition. And there's always someone bigger than you in competition. And for the first time, you can see Ngannou like does that explosion thing, and it's like, that's not going to work. He just hit you in the face really hard with a hammer fist. Like you're definitely going to have to try something else. Great fight, but I will say we were almost right. The first round, he came at him in one of the scariest 2 minutes of anything I've ever seen. This part, do you remember the first 3 minutes at all?
I do, yeah. It was super scary. Francis was coming and throwing everything.
Think about it like this. There is, at the end of EBI, right after you win, there's a thing of freshly grazed Krispy Kremes in the room waiting for you at the end. That's what he looked like for those first 3 minutes. It was Ngannou chasing Stipe like he was freshly dipped Krispy Kreme. And that is a headline you're not going to see written in Sports Illustrated, which is a shame.
I think Francis at I forget what round it was, maybe the third, hit him with a right, hit Stipe with like a straight right, and it hurt him pretty good. But they ended up going to the ground after that, and Stipe was able to recover. But that scared me.
And there was a few of those moments, but Stipe.
Kev, do you share the feeling by one Brandon Schaub, though? Do you share the opinion that doesn't the UFC have treadmills and wrestling at the Performance Center?
Okay, first of all, that's pretty funny because they went on like a super tear before the fight started about the Performance Center. It's not super funny, but it does have a nice ring to it that, he was toast. So maybe there should be a small moment at the end of every year, maybe pre-award ceremony, where whatever sportscasters have to answer some of their dumbest ass things they said during a broadcast. I think Joe Rogan's going to want to take back he's in unbelievable shape. He is in the conditioning of a lifetime. He was really beefing it up. Did a quick stroke off into the pool of the UFC Athletic Center. Didn't work so great. This time. Because, damn. But after those first 3 minutes, I swear to fuck, that was like everyone's nightmare. Francis Ngannou chasing you like that for 3 minutes. Felt like a dream. You were right about Cormier, both of you, I guess. I feel like I was in the minority opinion when I took Ozdemir, who got Ozd knocked out pretty fucking quickly. That was
except for this. I want to backtrack here because
you owe it
the
to Stipe.
hard part about this is, Kev, like looking at Daniel Cormier's performance, I just wasn't that impressed with hearing that DC finished somebody very quickly. When I was like, yeah, duh, I felt that was going to happen. But returning on this though, Stipe, can you describe how Dana White was? Because they had so many cameras on him that made Dana White show how pissed he was that Stipe was winning. So there's a lot of up close camera angles that show him like biting his hand. He was then later on, he wouldn't even be allowed to put on the belt on Stipe. Stipe had his coach do it. Dana always puts the belt on the champion. Did you pick up on any of that?
You could tell there was a noticeable lack of Dana excitement, and it's just like, I guess it's not surprising to me because I kind of feel like he picks and chooses whatever it is that's going to piss him off that particular day, but this was pretty great. And I saw the pictures almost immediately after. They're like, what happened between Dana and Stipe? Jason, has a promoter ever cheered against you like that? Have you ever felt like a promoter lost money because you won?
Never. Like, that's kind of weird.
That's the UFC.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. Oh, that's okay. Well, maybe Eddie Bravo will do it this time. Well, I guess if you're fighting like one of his guys, you'll kind of know. It's like, this is brutal.
Yeah.
The reason though on this though is the mere fact of this. Steven felt that he wasn't getting the respect that he should as a champion. How often do we hear this, that the UFC isn't respecting their champion? Like all of these people who win a championship belt, for whatever reason, granted, they do earn the belt, so there is some greatness to it. But then they get mad that they're promoting Nagano to be the best thing ever. And not only does that sound stupid, it's the only way to sell the fight. If you can't sell the fight yourself, then the UFC has to do it for you. So complaining about that is stupid. On the second side, the UFC then distancing themselves because they're like, hey, Dana, how did it feel that Nagano went out after you guys were hyping him? And he's like, whoa, I didn't fucking hype that guy. And it's like, you clearly did.
He's got a
everybody can see the promos.
Casual relationship with the truth and what he said. Dana White does. That's a fair point, though, by the way. There's at least like 4 champions that are actively feuding with Dana White. You've got Tyron Woodley, fucking hates him. You go all the way down. Mighty Mouse hates him. Who's in the 185? Doesn't matter. Hates him. There's a lot of champions he currently
It just seems like you have to have like some type of it factor to get promoted. Like, for example, who's that one karate dude that's all ripped up? Sage Northcutt. He's a great fighter, don't get me wrong. But you know what I'm saying? He gets promoted like crazy whenever he's got fights coming up, but he hasn't really, done the best in his, last couple fights in the UFC. I think Paige Van Zandt, though, she's awesome. Man, she's freaking tough. Watching that St. Louis fight, that's just bringing me back. But anyway, she gets promoted like crazy as well. But they all have like just something special, like something that's cool going for them. Of course, Paige is super attractive. Sage is like freaking ripped out of his mind, and Ngannou was homeless. But it's like somebody like Stipe, who's just like Ngannou was. Yeah,
I get what you're saying. I just like that those are their attributes.
Yeah,
pretty,
that's what
young, homeless. It's just you got to find
it's probably
your thing.
Also why they did away with the bullet points, because at a certain point when they had the bullet points for the fighters and their best qualities, for Sage Northcutt, it's like smiles a lot.
Yeah,
for Paige Van Zandt, it's just like is exceptionally pretty, not just pretty, exceptionally pretty.
I mean, so is Sage. Like objectively, sharp face. Just a very.
Here's the one thing you gotta understand. If you are but like if they put a belt on you, that's the promo. And then if the UFC doesn't sell, then really that is on them. It's their job to sell the fight, unless you're 100% marketable and interesting. And on your realm, apparently, Stipe wasn't interestingly enough for you to go ahead and vote for him, even though he was a firefighter. So if he wants to be a firefighter, dude, do it. That's an amazing thing. That thing should sell itself. And I just think his casual dudeness is something that's got a good hook to it. And I think people want to see that. But clearly, if he's going to be firefighting, he probably won't have all the time to go ahead and market himself crazily. So yeah, if they're promoting that other dude as being like, he's the biggest threat since the last threat, like that's the UFC's go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, if the UFC was promoting a match between me and you, they would be like, I don't know about this ref. He's never fought professionally before, but that's an X factor. This is the biggest fight Jason Hayden has ever taken because of the unexpectedness.
That's so true, though.
That's how they would sell it.
They can put a twist and turn on everything. That's wild.
And then the minute you demolish me, they'd be like, well, you know what? You got to respect Jason Hayden for demolishing Raph in like 30 seconds, especially coming through that weight disadvantage. I mean, not now. He is cutting weight now, but normally he's about Raph's weight. Anyway, long story short, he's got really small legs that are big. Have you seen those? Kind of rolls like a Tasmanian devil.
Plus, they don't have to really be truthful when they spread rumors now. Like, you can just leak anything, and it's on ESPN. It's like 2 hours before, maybe 2 days before the match, because they know it's going to be a blowout. It's like even his own brother questions if Hayden can hang in with Raph. And it's like this obscure comment of him being like, my brother's just got to focus. Sometimes he struggles people with defense. And that's like twisted into a direct. I can't wait till we get to that point in grappling, Raph.
Actually, you know what it would be? Josh would at least be super nice to me, and Josh would say something to the press that would be like, yeah, I predict my brother will finish Raph in the third. And the headline would read, older Hayden brother has no confidence in Mini Hayden.
Mini Hayden.
Zero. None.
That would be Jiu-Jitsu Times. Might print it anyway. They might have just heard this and just get on the story preemptively.
Mm-mm.
Rift in the Hayden family. Early thoughts, though, Stipe's a beast, and he's my new favorite. I can't wait to see him fight in a jiu-jitsu. He seems like he's just because he's so big, right? I mean, he's got to be able. Does anybody know about his jiu-jitsu background? I mean, I know he trains, but
I have no clue.
That'd be fun.
I think he was like I assume he had a good wrestling background. I mean,
Kev, can I ask a question, though?
Sure.
The question I have here is pretty simple. Is he considered the greatest heavyweight of all time? Because we're off at this point now where he won 4 in a row, and they're just like, oh my God, he's the best of all time.
Short history.
And I think to myself, in every other division, they're like, yo, seriously though, we have to win like 6 or 7 in a row for someone to like look at us. It's not to say that the people he's beat are bad. He's put together one of the best streaks, period. Mm-hmm. Just look at the caliber of the individuals. But there is something unsettling if I was to be like, all right, Jason Hayden, if you put together 4 wins, you'll be the Anderson Silva of your division. And he'd be like, Raph, that will never happen. I might win in 4, but nobody's going to turn to me and be like, you're the GOAT now. Congrats.
Yeah, they never would.
No, especially at such a reasonable person's weight. That's the nice thing, the bigger people, shorter shelf life, right? They can't fight as long. You have to take your wins where they come, Raph. I think you're being reverse biased against people with huge bones. You know how hard it is to walk when you're 255 pounds, when you're like 60? It's harder. I'm just trying to make the longitude.
Actually, no, I think I'm offering something that's completely the opposite, Kevin. I'm saying they're being sizes to little people. I'm defending people like Mini Hayden over here who are putting in the time in both jiu-jitsu and MMA. Think about that.
And
people.
Not eating donuts. You think Stipe skips the donuts?
Yeah.
I don't think
he
so.
Doesn't.
He's not worried about it. This whole episode is going to be very heavily around food habits now, previously.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move to DC. And this card has... I watched this card. It was competitive. There was a lot of back-and-forth fights. There weren't a lot of high-resolution finishes beyond the ones that you know about. None of us should ever touch Abdul Razak Al Hassan. He will violently kick, knee you, and punch you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Should be very careful. That fight was actually pretty fun for about a few minutes. I guess they have a huge back-and-forth grind. People were like, this is their 3rd fight. It's like, okay.
No way.
Yeah, it's an undercard fight. So I was a little surprised that they were trying to hype it up like there was a lot of beef, but sure enough, fun fight. Ended great. Daniel Cormier was another TKO. Beat the ever-living shit out of Ozdemir and almost choked him out at the end of the first. Like gets in on that big guy wrestling neck grip where he doesn't even have hooks in because he just doesn't need them. Barely misses it. Vulcan is saved by the bell. Not so much saved by the bell in the next round when he gets like that crucifix punch finish. And go ahead.
I did see. I saw this fight. I'm sorry.
Your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on that finish. You're crafty enough to do this.
He got him in a crucifix and then just started pounding him in the head. He trapped both of his arms, one of his left arm with his legs and then his right arm with his head. And Daniel Cormier just was teeing off. I mean, it wasn't like I don't think it wasn't spectacular, but the control that DC had over him was amazing. Like it was awesome. That's a crappy spot to be in because
I was just gonna say that's what to me. Pick a worse position. Is there a position you'd be in? Like what's worse than that?
I don't know. That's the worst. Like I think that is I actually in the Army I had my last combatives fight for the military. That's how I finished my fight. Is I trapped both of his arms and was punching him in the face, and he couldn't do anything about it.
Fuck.
That's a terrible spot.
For those that don't know, combatives, as you advance to the tournament rounds, is just basically an MMA fight. So that checks out. And you must have been extremely good at combatives, I would think, because if your brother's training at that point.
Yeah, I was. I fought professionally before I joined the Army, and so I was just like, cool. Let me just
shit. Okay,
yeah, I was like, cool. I went up to my sergeants. I was like, hey, let me do this combatives thing. I'll win it. I'll win the post tournament. And they're like, okay. And then I won it. And then I was like, Sergeant, I'm gonna do it again next year. And then I won it again next year.
That's awesome. Okay, I like cocky Hayden walking up, just like I'm gonna win it. There must have been like that little tiny fuck off right behind your back. And then after you won it, we're like, don't say anything. Let's just let it ride. That's fantastic. Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. And you picked Cormier correctly, Raph. You guys all. I'm just gonna move on. I apologize to the Daniel Cormier community and everyone at DC Comics. Calvin Qatar KO's Shane Burgos, proving scariest tattoos not always the paradigm for which you can win a fight. Sometimes you have to bring a little extra something. Vellante wins via decision, but I want to talk about Rob Font.
Oh, yeah.
0 Font jokes made by the broadcast. Go fuck yourselves, you amateur hacks. Tell them all I said it. 2 stars, Dominic Cruz. You can't come up with 1. Helvetica New. It doesn't matter. Rob Font. This is the best. We got to make some fun T-shirts. Do you know him, Jason, or you just cheered for him because you like him?
I know him a little bit. I have rolled with him. One of his buddies lives down here in Tampa, and he was down here training I think last year actually. And yeah, I got to roll with him at Gracie Tampa South here, and he was awesome. He's a super nice guy, and it was a privilege to get to roll with the guy. I know he's a beast. I think his last fight he knocked a dude out as well, so he's on a tear. He's a monster.
Rob Font, I cannot wait for the next fight.
Yeah.
I got to look up some extra crazy fonts just in case. I just want to write his name in like 4 crazy ways and then put it on a T-shirt. The most subtle verbal tip. Raph's not going to let me do that one. Davis loses to Bochniak via decision. Another horseshit win by Mr. Hayden. You won that pick. Dustin Ortiz wins. Let's see. Makachev knocks out Thibault. And Arce wins without trying a single Darce. So we all lose. That was another decision fight. Raph, do you remember, was there a bet involved? I don't think there was, right? We just played for gentlemen's keeps this time.
I would like to tell you there was no bet involved, but that would mean that I would be lying, and I don't lie on this show, Kevin. You know, I do a lot of things on this show. I ask Ariel Helwani questions because that's something that pisses Dana White off apparently now. When I say that Dana was in a bad mood, he literally was sourpuss the entire night. And he literally, when somebody's like, hey, they ask him a question, he's like, that's a very Ariel Helwani question, you fucking dummy. And it's like, dude, Ariel Helwani is asking the Katie Couric of questions. Is this really where we're going right now? So, no, this is not a problem. What I do want to bring up is this, Kev, because when I was doing my good investigative journalism over at Ultimate Mat Wars, I was concerned because there were some notes that said that people really weren't going to watch the UFC because it had a terrible undercard. Was there anything that disproved that?
I mean, some of the fights were pretty fun. I wouldn't say it was terrible. The Al Hassan knockout was pretty badass. That guy's brutal. And Makhachev knocked out Tabo, who's like 84.
Because I wonder if
So
part of
that's
the reason. Sure. But I wonder if part of the reason Dana was such a sourpuss was because it happened in his hometown of Boston, and that he didn't deliver a good Boston card. Because we didn't hear anything from Dana until the referees, the Patriots, pulled off an amazing comeback that next day, and he put up a post on it. So I just want to point that out. Anyway, guys, I guess what I'm saying right now to you is this. Yes, there was a bet. Yes, we do have the results. And yes, Jason, are you concerned?
Nope. Yep.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite Hayden. Nope. Yep.
Okay. This
Rap fight.
doesn't inspire at all any form of confidence.
I think we might be losing you again. I'm just going to take it over because I'm the type of parent that rips the Band-Aid off. Raf's the type that talks about it for 7 minutes, then rips it off. You won 7-6, and it's a real bullshit decision. If you ask me.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You had Bochniak, and there's no way you could pick him out of a lineup. Along with somehow you get Ortiz wins, but we both had Font. I had Makhachev, so that was my lucky one. But otherwise, crushing. I think I have to demonstrate a technique with the bikini part on, which is going to really confuse some people. / make perfect sense to others. So.
Well, yeah, you can wear the rash guard stuff. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be cool.
If the people took a vote, had you done it, it'd be 50-50. There's a lot of people like, no, rock it, show some skin. Trust me.
If it was up to me, it would have been some skin showing.
100% of people are going to be like, no, Kevin should probably put the rash guards on. It's going to be helpful for him, his family, any future aspirations Verbal Tab has. Raph, unfair to bring someone on that has so much fight insight, I think. I'm calling question. I'm calling bullshit. I think Hayden was brought in.
Well, I have to ask this now. Jason, how do you feel having admonished Kevin?
I feel like a true champion. I feel good.
You can tell he's not even listening. He's thinking about a donut.
Are you going to ride?
Very romantically. It's just...
yeah, 100%.
Like my mind's telling me no. But
my body... Oh, man, I'm about to start singing on here. I sing a lot. I can't do it. I'm going to embarrass myself.
Substitute the word body for glazed donut.
Neither of you are gifted with the...
musical arts.
Jason, are you going to take this win and use it as momentum for the EBI?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of course I am. Why wouldn't I? I need all the dubs I can get. I'm glad I won because I wasn't looking forward to doing a freaking technique video in drag. I agreed to it, and I'm like, after we did the podcast, I sat down. I was like really thinking about it, how cool it would be, and then I was like, man, that's gonna suck. Like, I don't want to do that, but I have to do it if I lose. I was really worried. But I'm so glad I won. I knew I was going to win anyway. Scratch all that. It's all good.
My career as a professional's over. That's what flashed through his mind.
Actually, what you guys don't know who are listening right now is the fact that Minnie Hayden, when we were scheduling this, was like, first question out of his mouth, did I win? And I was like, I have no time for that. Listen, can you do Monday night or not?
I had no time.
Like, no, but did I win? I was like, kid, fuck off. You'll find out what everybody else finds out. I have to ask this, though, Minnie Hayden, because you did a good job here. Will you now, since you've built this momentum, I mean, I feel like you're obligated to shout us out if you win EBI.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't I? You know, I might talk a little smack.
Yeah,
I'll say some good things. Raf's always got a sweet beard going on. I'll definitely compliment his beard. But yeah, I'll definitely give a shout out. Why wouldn't I? You know.
Fair enough. Well, listen, I don't know. I mean, it's customary for me to interview the winners, so you know that's happening. But the second part of this thing that I wanted to go ahead and make sure that we caught before we started to close out was you came up with the bet. Like, Kevin was the one to suggest an idea of doing something like a technique video, but you were the one to originally go overboard and want him to go crazy. And then you were the one to be like, ooh, that bikini, that's a good idea. So you got scared of your own bet that you put out forward because you were telling the story as if you were just like, oh, I was thinking about the bet that we all came up with mutually and all have equal part in a terrible idea. But it was you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like the Army side coming out of me because we'd make our buddies do some crazy stuff if they lost a bet. I just forget that. I can't do that all the time. I'm sorry.
/ the Hayden side of you. Like, I feel like there's an Army side, just survival of your environment. Like, it couldn't have been easy. Tough, brother.
Yeah. I couldn't think of a good bet. I mean,
no. That one works, especially for the internet. So everybody, move aside. And plus, we're already going to know who your sponsor is because you rock the Phalanx as well as anyone, and that brand, it's just the best looking no-gi stuff. It really is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I love their gear. They take good care of me, and but yeah, I am open to any other sponsors. I only have one sponsor. I think it's just, I guess I'm too ugly. I don't know, or I suck at jiu-jitsu.
It's both. So let's just call it what it is.
My flyer photo just came out for EBI, and I look ridiculous.
What? Oh, yeah. Come on. We'll give a completely impartial review as the event gets closer of all props and materials.
Yeah, do me a favor. Send it to me now so that when you're not on the show anymore, Kevin and I will talk about it on the rest of the episode.
Okay. I'll send it to you right now. I just took a picture of it.
Oh, good. Here's what you should know. Jason, I think a lot of things about you, and I think, you do have some weaknesses, like, you're kind of forgetful. Your hair is only second to, like, Mike Padilla.
Yeah, right.
Those are very minuscule weaknesses. Nowhere on your weakness scale do I'm like, oh, he's ugly and he's bad at jiu-jitsu. Like, those don't even register, so just know that. But okay, so you're open to sponsors, and you could use a gi sponsor, you could use nutrition sponsor, you can use any kind of apparel sponsor that doesn't really get rash guards or shorts. I guess for apparel's out. Anyway, long story short is he's got a lot of availability for where he can be sponsored, but he's also available for privates and seminars when he comes out to LA for EBI. And you're here again for 2 weeks. So how's that? What dates are you out here for, sir?
From the 14th to the 28th, I'll be in LA. So I'll be looking to if anybody wants to do privates, of course, and seminars, I'm totally down. Training would be great. I just like to train at different gyms and hang out with people. So,
well, you will always have an open spot with us over at the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club, and I will be talking with some folks. I know you guys, again, I said it last week, but I'll say it again. It bears repeating. He is so good at doing a seminar, you guys. And not just that, but like when you guys came into the seminar for us at the Jiu-Jitsu Club, everybody was so happy with their techniques. And I still have people who come up to me and say like, oh, hey, I'm hitting this. Or like people who I run into at tournaments who I recognize from coming to that seminar. And on a personal note, I still do a couple of the things that y'all did that are like the real small things
Mm-hmm.
that have very much helped me in terrible situations.
Excellent, excellent. I'm glad that some of the techniques that we've showed are are helping. Yeah, whenever I show techniques and do seminars and privates, I don't hold anything back. Like I'll show you whatever, the little things that I do that are successful for me. Because if we make everybody else better, it comes around and makes me better. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to keep things secret. So.
Oh, damn it. See, this photo doesn't suck. He's
and Kev, you got the photo that I just don't talk about it now. We can't talk about it now because he's on here.
Oh, okay.
And that's not allowing us to be honest about it because we have to do the nice thing to him when he's on.
Oh my gosh.
Got it. That's
Plus, it's going to be a test for Mini Hayden to see if he actually listens to the parts that he's not on.
He definitely won't. So test failed. We can already chalk it up. Well, Mini Hayden, we're cheering for you as EBI comes up. Obviously, we cheer the hardest for the ones we ridicule the most, which has got to include you and, Kit Dale. I think are pretty much high on the list. Along with Gary Tonin, whom we will make fun of for a solid 54 minutes. One of these days, if he ever annoys us to the point where it's necessary. Maybe if he actually starts a podcast. But you, sir, have an explosive game. What? Give me one thing. Are you training a little differently, or a little harder, or a little bit more unique for this set? Now that you've been through it a few times.
I'm really trying to put myself in situations while I'm transitioning to not mess my hair up because I want my hair to look good at the beginning of the match.
Fucking fine.
And at the end of the match, I want it to look the same. So inverting might be out because my head might hit the mat. So I'm not going to invert. I'll probably stay butterfly or stay on top the whole time.
That's a good call. I like it all. I mean, stay camera ready. Let's think about what's important here.
Got to. Yeah. Hey, all you sponsors here, I pride myself in looking good. So if I'll throw your products at me and I'll rep them.
No shit. Why don't you have a hair care product sponsorship?
No joke. I messaged Suavecito Pomade on Instagram, and I sent them this big thing on how I would love to be sponsored by them, and I told them what I do, and I compete on television, and I'd love to rep their products, and I pride myself on looking good, whatever. And they messaged me back, and they're like, "No, thank you. We don't sponsor athletes, but it's thank you for using our product." It was cool to get a reply, but I was really sad that they said no.
That's how good your hair looked. Imagine how many people they don't even reply to. Think about that.
Yeah. See?
What the fuck? We don't sponsor fighters.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Maybe they lied to me. I hope. Don't tell me if they did, because then I'll be sad. I'll be sad again. So.
As you see Gio rocking it, Gio
Especially
Martinez,
if it is Mike
the
Padilla. If it's Mike Padilla that's doing it, that would be the true killer. You have to understand, Kev, Mike Padilla is his true hair rivals. So I want to make sure that we commit to this right here on our show. If you guys ever have a rematch, you are not allowed to use the stakes of hair versus hair match unless it is promoted by Verbal Tap. I want that as a commitment from you right here, right now, sir.
You have I pinky promise.
Well, I'll take it. He's pretty hungry. That matters.
This is as legit as it gets. I'm going to get Mike on that very soon. I also, Kev, I have breaking news right now. I just got a note back from your brother Josh, and I said, "What do you think of using hashtag Mini Hayden as a hashtag for your bro?" And he says, "Oh, I'm totally down with it."
Perfect.
So I think Mini Hayden may be the way that we go for hashtags.
You two fight similarly. It's hard at times to tell which of you is fighting when I'm just seeing an ADCC video, especially when you guys both did the 80-20. I was like, wait, which one is it?
Yeah, I need to come out with my DVD series.
Yeah. Hold on. 40-10.
40?
Yeah, so that's my, that's what it's still in the works, but it's going to be called the Shorty 40.
Or 160-40. The leg lock system. Double up your brother. Be like, only an idiot would do less. You can put that as the title.
But only idiot would do less. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna have to.
160, 80. Sorry, Shody Fody is way better. That's a way better name.
Maybe for you and your brother, you do the 2080 leg lock system.
Completely opposite. So the 2080 leg skating system.
Oh yeah.
Or rollerblading. I like that one.
the rollerblading system. I would be in deeply. I'm buying that.
And then I'll just wear like all 80s like rollerblading clothes while I'm doing the techniques.
This works. We're crushing this.
I like this.
We've got more ideas than we have grappling videos. We gotta get to work. Well, Jason, thank you again for swinging by the podcast. Phalanx, premier grappler. You can see him on EBI or accepting any super fight that comes his way.
Mm-hmm.
Contact him. Have him come teach at your school. Have him come teach you. Jason, thank you so much for swinging by the podcast again.
Thank you guys for having me. It's always fun. Can't wait to be back on here, guys.
Ref, Jason looks super young in this photo, but he doesn't. Damn it. I was hoping he was going to look awful. Like, engulfed in purple flames that said the earth is flat and so am I. I don't know. He looks adorable. I mean, he looks young. He looks a little fresh-faced, but when doesn't he?
Okay, but let's delve into this because I want to get into why he's so self-conscious about it. Is it that the coloring in there doesn't truly highlight his hair? That his hair kind of just blends into the background?
Yeah, or is it that he typically isn't blue as a human being? You know, like, I don't know. Could be the dark hair. Could be the light blue man group. The turquoise man group. He's going for here. It's
again, we know the people who work on these things for EBI. I want to make it very clear that y'all are on the better side of doing these things because I see a lot of fight posters
they
where
really
people
are.
do not look like the same color, period, or the lighting is off on one of them, but it's on another. But I want to make sure on this, the filter that they're using on here is that beautiful Helvetica, like whatever fucking filter they use on Instagram,
Aquaman?
Where it's just like, whenever you see it, you just go like, I'm just gonna find my filter. It's XX Pro. Everybody knows that one. I love it. But then I don't know. It just looks a little weird. But if we're talking about it, that filter, what it does is it makes his skin look a little splotchy. Like his skin isn't that splotchy, but it makes it feel like there's like a cartography map on his face if you're looking at it carefully enough.
Well, I was also going to say, you know what else it has? A real Metamorph vibe to it. That's where I thought they were like, let's steal his color and really kick him in the balls.
Nothing quite says Jason Hayden, welcome to the big show. Like, I mean, you kind of look like a stunt double for the movie La Bamba, but you're Filipino, so I mean, so's Lou Diamond Phillips, so whatever. You know what? By the way, I want to take this opportunity because I never get to do this joke
to clarify Lou Diamond Phillips' ethnicity.
Well, I want to do this joke because it's been so long that I feel like we need to bring these things back, Kevin, when the performers don't do them anymore. But there's a particular favorite moment of mine on SNL lore when they ask Stefan his favorite place to go, and he says, "And there you're going to run into a drag queen by the name of Jew Diamond Phillips." And that one does it to me every single time. So I wanted to drop that in because it's been so long since we've had a good Stefan moment.
That I still will occasionally see it pop up in my YouTube and just get lost in there.
You go down the Stefan wormhole, you're never getting out. Sort of like looking at the face of one young Jason Hayden over here, man.
He's just right there. The J Hayden.
It's like You know what it is? He looks like he's on a milk carton, and I hope that they found him.
They didn't.
They definitely did not. He died, but you still are drinking the milk anywhere, being like, I'm okay. I hope that kid lived. No, he's dead. All right.
How old is he, by the way? It's like Jason Hayden, most likely to get carded on his way into the fight.
It's 100% his varsity football photo.
Oh.
And if I'm being honest, where the fuck's his stash? I don't like this photo because he doesn't have his like French facial hair on the stash on like he's a waiter or something.
So good looking. He's the Sage Northcutt of young grapplers.
Oh wow, he is definitely not going to appreciate that.
No, don't worry, he's definitely not listening.
Is it that he's really mad that you don't see his short legs that are stubby?
He did. He's like, I have big legs, tiny. I was like, man, I mean, you look proportional to me. I just thought.
I'm going to have to work with you once we call it quits on the air today on the Jason Hayden impression.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
Well, look out. Rory McDonald, Jason Hayden coming next week. Raph, that's going to do it for us for topics and stuff we have to cover. And we've now talked a lot of smack on Jay Hayden's picture, which looks great. He was like, I don't know. He said it like the flame photo. I was like, I don't see that.
This is like literally we just had to invent 7 minutes of
I was like,
material
EBI's
there.
got their shit together. It's got all the details on it. It doesn't. It's not hard to figure out if it's like a montage for a Stallone film or not. It's pretty clearly a grappling poster that highlights the man.
I've got one more joke since you brought it up. It looks like he's on the like Filipino ripoff version of like Cobra. But like they never got it in the Philippines, so they made one with Jason Hayden, and like Jason Hayden is Arthur Cobretti.
Thank you for calling him by his full name, Cobretti. That's
by Sylvester Stallone. In case you couldn't tell by the name,
that's well, everybody knows Cobretti. He should be Cabretti for his next. We'll talk to him about Halloween for next year. Raph, let's get to some shout outs. As we do, I'm going to be doing Blue Corner, calling fights in Kansas City, the Ultimate Absolute, then the 7 o'clock show at the casino. Am I just going to gamble and, be a general rowdy maker? Maybe. Am I going to professionally call fights and talk about hand position and underhooks? And what does that do for him now? I don't know, Raph. I don't know where I'm going to fall on the spectrum. Come check it out. Get yourself on that live feed. I will be wearing my North South Jiu-Jitsu underwear. Raph, 3 weeks from today, I get to return. I'm going to be doing some one-on-ones to start. I want to privatize this to start because, public education these days doesn't matter. I'm going to privatize my way back into jiu-jitsu. Cannot wait to get back to the Jubera crowd. Get into the craziness of training frequently. I miss it so much. My therapist and I are very excited. Raph, that's going to do it for me.
Well, let's start here. I want to first of all thank all of our friends at Ultimate Mat Warriors. It really was a phenomenal time. I always loved going there. I want to thank Octavio and Mike for, as always, joining along. Mike and I had a fun and awesome trip on down. I also want to say thank you to all of the athletes. It's always great to cover you guys. You want to keep a lookout on the Kid A Photography on Instagram and Facebook. That's Kid A Photo on Instagram and Kid A Photography on Facebook. You guys keep a lookout. We're going to be putting some photos up there, and we're also going to have some on SmugBug. Here's the thing that I like to say, guys. Support your local photographers. My sister busts her ass on this shit, and it'd be nice if you buy some photos. And I don't know, maybe if we're nice and everybody's on the up and up, maybe we'll put a promo code at some point so you guys can get some discounts and all that good stuff. But supporting her is supporting this podcast, so we definitely want you guys to get in on help on that. Big shout-outs over to the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club. I have news, Kev. They are fluctuating the schedule a little bit. So it's still Monday through Friday, okay? You get the best of all worlds, right?
Yeah.
But you get Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 a.m., normal times. Everything's the same. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they're adding yoga at 8 a.m., okay?
What?
Then they're also doing 10 a.m. jiu-jitsu for those who want to do that. And I'm hearing, I don't want to put it out there, I'm hearing a lot of things about this LA Jiu-Jitsu club. I'm hearing that they're going to do a Friday night open mat. So anyway, that's the news I got for you guys. Keep a look on the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club's Instagram. You can look at them. I believe it's the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club on the Instagram as well. So do that and keep a look out there for all of their fluctuating schedules. And then come train with me over at Valley Martial Arts Center. I believe they're going to be looking into doing another tournament, another whiteout, and maybe even a kids tournament if there is some interest in that. But and a big shout out to my sister. My sister fucking kicks ass,
Still
dude.
crushing it.
She's doing so much things. Oh, and I gotta say this. She will actually be doing photography this Sunday at the IBJJF. So y'all definitely will want to be over that way and do that thing because she gonna do that thing and be taking photos. So if you're looking for packages for coverage, hit me up and hopefully we can find you an adequate price because we want to make things affordable for grapplers. And that's what I got for you, man. So thanks to everybody. Good stuffs.
Hey, that'll do it for us tonight here at Verbal Tap. I am Kevin. Thank you for listening.
Good night and good fight.
At this time,